That's okay though. We're still going to have fun. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Juli Pitra, and I'm the founder and creator of Pitranomics, a 10-part strategy to grow, protect, and transfer wealth. And tonight's strategy we're going to talk about is snack now, feast later. It's all about taking the small steps to generating wealth. And in particular, we're going to talk about how you do it with a side hustle. So real quick, there's going to be a poll launched. We're playing with new stuff. I'm having a lot of fun learning the technology. So if we can bring the poll up, and while that's happening, I'll give you the maybe 45-second synopsis of me. So I'm Juli Pitra. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And most of what I learned about money and finances and all of my values came from my parents, particularly my mother, who grew up, let's say, with fewer advantages than she was able to provide for me. And so a lot of what I learned, I brought into my marriage and brought into my life. And then I married a man named Andrei Pitra, who's from the Czech Republic. And when I say that someone who's grown up in a former communist country really knows how to be smart with money, how to make that dollar, dime, crown, Deutschmark, whatever, extend really, really, really far, well, that's who I married. Together, we have lived a life that's been focused on growing so that we can transfer certain advantages to our kids, just like, what I got. My mom stepped up and gave me a better life. We're hoping to step up and give our kids a better life. And wealth isn't really all about just money. Wealth is also the knowledge and the value system and the work ethic to handle resources and make them work on your behalf. And also to be sane enough to do it and to have the right attitude about abundance. Well, you got to balance abundance and self. Can't be a complete martyr. You can't be a complete selfish, what's a clean word? Selfish person. We'll just call it that. There has to be a balance. You have to contribute to the world while still taking care of yourself. And so anyway, if you see the poll, think about it. The questions are going to come up a little bit later in the presentation, but I'd love to get some answers because that's going to help us be a little more interactive. And for me, the joy in this kind of teaching and discussing is all about getting the interaction and the feedback of people that I know and love that want to learn more and share. So right now, I am going to share the presentation. Once again, let's give a hand to Shamir and my other assistant, Hannah. I don't know if she's on, but thank you guys so much for helping me create these presentations and create my graphics. They are very much appreciated. So now we're going to go to, and one day I'll learn a smooth way to do this. Not today, but maybe sometime soon. Here we go. And present this. Okay, I'm starting at the end. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, nothing's perfect. So anyway, what is a side hustle? Let's talk about that a little bit. We want to make sure we take the small steps over a consistent amount of time, and we're committed to it to make really big changes in the long run. Being successful with a side hustle is remembering exactly what that's for. So in the Pitranomics strategies, and here's an overview of them, the first thing you start with is understanding what your goals are for your life, not financially, not in the short term, but for your life. And then realizing that Pitranomics focuses on three major resources: money, energy, and time, in order to accomplish those goals, utilizing them optimally to accomplish those goals. The next step, which is called How to Eat an Elephant, talks about what's your roadmap? What are the many steps you have to take to get to the long-range plan? And after that, we discussed Who is in My Lifeboat, which is all about your inner circle, and The Joneses Don't Have Jack, which is all about not being distracted what other people have or are doing. You have to stay focused on what your goals are. So now we get to Snack Now, Feast Later, which is actually one of my favorites, and it's something that my husband really honed in our lives. When we were first married and when we had young kids, we didn't do a whole lot of indiscriminate spending. We did a whole lot of intentional saving. And as a result, we were able to start taking advantage of certain opportunities. So one story I like to share is we were in a park one day and I started talking to some people. And I asked them, what's the secret of a long marriage? Because at that point, we've been married about 4 or 5 years. And those of you that have been married a long time know it's not easy. Not that it's not worthwhile, but it's not easy. Learning from someone who's traveled that path before you is a great way of learning. And so what this very nice couple they were there with their grandkids, what they said, it's all about communication, respect, and looking out for your finances. They recommended a book called The Millionaire Next. I'd heard of at that point, not read. Then they also gave us a wealth manager to talk to help get us on our way. One of the reasons I do Pitranomics is because a lot of the information that I've gotten access to, that my husband and I have access to, has come from our moving up into the world and being the type of demographic that the people who give great professional help serve. But in our case, when we were first starting out and we got from this established couple this recommendation of this wealth manager and we made an appointment, she point blank told us that we were not her target. We did not have to make to help us grow. And one of the things I'd like to do with Pitranomics is share what I've learned, as long as it's relevant to you, so that you don't have to wait until a certain point to have the information. We can all share it here. I bring on special guests I invite in the community to share. It's all about growing and learning early enough to make a really big difference in your life. So, what is your side hustle? What do you do? What do you have? What do you love that you can make a little bit of extra money at? And I'm not talking about replacing your main job. I'm talking about something that you can augment and provide maybe an outlet, a social outlet, relieve some stress, and then also make a little money. So here are the poll questions, and I just want to discuss them a little bit. Do you have more than one source of income, i.e. a side hustle? Now, the way I've structured my business as far as real estate, there are many different income streams, and they help offset each other. Some are more impactful than the other, but all of them together make a nice little dependable cushion. If something goes down, I've got a little bit extra. Sometimes things all hit at once, but you plan by having a number of extra things to depend on. My daughter, who's working in New York City, I've told her, I was like, you have a great job and it's a great salary, but you don't have control over whether or not you work there or not. If they decide they don't need you, there's little you can do. What do you fall back on? What do you start developing in case something goes wrong? So do you have more than one source of income? If you do, please let me know, because I'd love for us to discuss it. And if you do have more than one source of income, how large a percentage of your total income is it? Now think about this. If you make, say, I'm just going to use small dollars, $5 a day making this one thing, but your side hustle is $4 a day, maybe that's not really your side hustle and you need to rethink your priorities. But if your main job is, say, $7 a day and your side hustle is 1 or 2, that's a side hustle. And a side hustle should not interfere with your main hustle unless it's developed to such a point and you enjoy it enough and you're committed to it enough that you can switch it out. And your main hustle maybe becomes your side hustle and your side hustle steps up. Here's an example. I know a lot of people that are my age and older that have worked years and years in corporate America and they don't want to do it anymore. And maybe they've done something else. They've tutored or whatever. So here's an example of a side hustle stepping up. They can retire from the job they've been doing 30, 40 years, and they can do that on a consultative basis. And then say what they've been doing on the side, coaching or tutoring or whatever, they step that up. That starts taking the most of their time. You can still make significant money with your side hustle that way. And you also need to think about when you are developing your life for retirement, you still want to have something to do that gets you going when you no longer have your main hustle drive. So the side hustle can also provide the mental health balm when you're older and you're no longer doing your main hustle. And about the side hustle income, what do you do with that money? Do you spend it? Do you pay bills? Is that how you spend it? Do you save it and think about building wealth with it? And that's what we're going to focus on most. So those questions, please answer them. We'll check that out later. So what makes a successful side hustle? Now, there may be some other things, but these are the things I believe that are really important that are going to make you successful, not only in the side hustle, but using it for a wealth building tool. The activity has to be enjoyable. Remember, the side hustle is not the main thing that you do to keep you going, to pay your bills, whatever your main requirements are. It's the additional. It's very hard to do something 40, 50 hours a week and then add something unpleasant on top of it. That's why I feel like it should be something enjoyable. I'm not talking about your passion until it grows into your passion, but you can't hate it. You have to be able to commit to doing it consistently. And there are some of you that I'm going to want you to please share about your side hustle, the things that you got into, how you got into, do you enjoy it? Do you see a way to grow it? And the third thing about your side hustle that makes it successful as a wealth building tool is that the rewards have to be predictable. So I started getting into real estate investing. Well, let me back up a little bit. I spent quite a few years being a stay-at-home wife and mom. So for all intents and purposes, that was my main hustle. And there were a couple of things I tried on the side, but they didn't really work out. But then my side hustle became investing because we started by investing passively in multifamily. But I didn't feel like I was learning as much as I wanted to learn, doing as much as I wanted to do, and engaging my brain as much as I wanted to engage. Remember, I had been a stay-at-home mom and wife for nearly 20 years. So I wanted to actively do something. So now I'm in real estate investing. I also became a realtor. I'm learning. That learning curve is steep. I'm enjoying it. I'm challenged. Most of the time I'm enjoying it. Sometimes it wears me out. But that is the nature now of a main hustle. One of my side hustles, and this is Pitranomics, this is creating for me the community with which I can then help more people do what I do, which is real estate investing. I'm building this community with the idea of finding my tribe, because my side hustle of coaching, it's not the thing that brings most of the money in, but I enjoy it. But the older I get, the more I realize I want to coach a certain type of person, the one who's embracing the similar values and values what I bring to the table. So that is what makes it my side hustle, and I enjoy it. So now you have to decide how the proceeds of your side hustle are going to be used. When I got into investing, which was at the time a side hustle, it's grown into my main hustle, but it wasn't to have extra money to spend. I went into it strictly to grow wealth. I was fortunate that my husband was providing enough for us to live fairly comfortably. So I didn't need it for us to survive, to pay rent or for groceries or anything like that. I was looking for something that's more of a long game focus. And how can I and my husband transfer these things to our children and their children? But another way of thinking of a side hustle, think about this. Let's say you want to save for the trip of a lifetime. You already have a good job that pays for your bills and you're saving for retirement and whatnot. But you want to pay for a trip around the world. And so you're saving money for the trip. You're saving money to cover expenses while you're not working, because the trip around the world means you got to take some time off work, right? So maybe you're saving for an expenditure like that, or maybe you're saving for your wedding, or maybe you're saving for college. That is also a thing. If you're thinking, okay, I want to save for my children's college, my current job is only doing this, I want to add to it. Perfectly acceptable reason for wanting to use your proceeds from your side hustle. Whatever you choose to use them for is perfectly acceptable. However, if you want to take the mindset that the side hustle is primarily designed to build wealth, then you go about it a little differently, mainly because the rewards of your side hustle don't generally come to you, or they're not coming to you in the short term. You're building wealth, and you're probably building the vehicle that you can transfer it to the next generation. So that is what I think about when I think about wealth building. And I did a calculation. I didn't remember to tell you this, but I think it's like $25 a week, a little bit of money. I don't know anybody that can't make $25 a week doing something that they're good at that maybe they're not tapping into. But if you save that every week for like, I think it was 20 years, you end up with like $15,000. Is that a lot of money? It is if you're saving for something in particular. $15,000 currently is kind of enough money to send your kid to 1 year of state school. Maybe you just want to get them started. If you have in Pitranomics, as you should have, your long-term goals identified and the path to get there created, then each incremental amount you can do gets you closer to that goal faster or helps you expand the goals that you have. My side hustle of investments has grown. It's my main hustle. It is also one of the primary vehicles by which we had currently intended to pass wealth to our kids, because real estate is a great way. Sorry, I see a mess up in building, but that's okay. Sidetracked by that. But so let's look at this. Here are the poll questions once again, and if we have answers, so now we have hopefully some answers. I can't tell. Did everybody answer the poll? Can you tell that, Shamir? Did we get some answers? If you need a few more minutes, please take that, because I would love to be able to find out what those are. Since I didn't launch the poll, and excuse the way we're doing this, I might not be able to see the results. So that might be you, Shamir, that has to share the results. But Amy wrote, my side hustle has become my main job from Facebook. Thank you. So now I have a very new side hustle. Okay, I would love to hear about your side hustle. For those of you that didn't see that on Facebook, Amy Sayer is the owner of August REI. And what she does is service private financing notes. And she's the best I know. So she also has a passion for it. And I think it's really cool when you have something that you have a passion for, that you can make a side hustle that you can grow into your main hustle. But for the purpose of this discussion, it's not required that it becomes your main hustle. All I want you to do is be committed enough to commit to it, committed enough to make it work for you in the long term. So I'm going to, let's see, stop sharing the presentation and see if, got to bring my glasses, sorry. Look at some of the results of the poll. So 71% say they do have a side hustle. I love that. And then 29% said no. And if you said yes, how large a percent of your total income is your side hustle? Shamir, by the way, did you share these on Facebook for me? Because I forgot to do that. So we got someone that says not enough. I love that. We've got a 2%, we've got a 5%. Okay. And then the last question, do you use your side hustle to pay bills or to save? And 67% said pay bills and 33% said save. Okay, so I like that. Let's go back to this. So before I go on, is there anything that anybody would like to ask about what I've talked about before we have a more interactive situation? And by the way, Shamir, can you spotlight me again? Because I can't see me in all this. So does anybody want to talk about their side hustle just to get us started? Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Okay. Oh, look at the light in my glasses. Easily distracted. So does anyone want to share with the group a side hustle? By the way, I want to add a comment that Amy said. She's only been paid 3 times so far. Not sure she can calculate as a percentage at this time. No big deal. You know, for a while, I was tutoring people in high school kids in science and math and essay writing, believe it or not. And I enjoyed it. I really did. It's something, there's probably a teacher in me somewhere that loves sharing what I know. The thing about when you're trying to tutor students is that the person that you're tutoring is not the person that's paying or the expectations you need to meet. And that was a little hard because young kids, the way I believe they need to grow at their own pace. And I'm not trying to make them do something that is against their natural grain, enhance their natural grain. Sometimes parents don't agree. I did have one in particular that I remember that was very supportive of the way I helped her child. She had basically a mental block. It's not like she didn't have the ability to do what she was trying to learn. But what I love about it is that she ended up going to the school of her choice. Did I help? I think a small bit, but I think most importantly, it's good to get that encouragement. So if through your side hustle, you can encourage somebody, you can share the benefit of wisdom and life, even more fantastic. I think that's when the side hustle can grow to something major. But anyway, that was enough of that story. Is there anyone else that would like to share details about their side hustle?
I don't have a side hustle right now, but I used to have one. During COVID, I was working in events and planning parties, and it actually was always fun for me, and so that made me kind of interested in being involved in that. And I'd like to go back to that when I get an opportunity.
You know, I remember that, Shantae, because during COVID, you were kind of cooped up in your house and it satisfied another need, which was you're a very social person and you like to get out there and create the events. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, that was Shantae Bryant that just spoke, another amazing human being. I am blessed with amazing human beings in my life. And she is such an encouraging soul. And certainly knows how to throw an event together. So that is using her natural talent that wasn't necessarily being utilized at work to do something that brought her emotional satisfaction as well as a little bit of extra money. And then I'm guessing, Shantae, the main hustle picked back up being demanding, right?
Yes.
And then you're like, you
Bread,
gotta
the
let the side
butter, and
hustle
all of
go.
it.
Yeah, they were like, we want you back and working.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So anyone else? Because I'm going to volunteer somebody. I already talked to her about it. So anyone else want to share about their side hustle?
Let me get hers out. Can you hear me okay?
Can you get a little closer to your mic?
Let's see. Is that better?
It's a little better. Now I can't see you, but I can hear you.
So my side hustle, I started a few months ago. Well, one of many. I have many side hustles. I think 10
I
total.
love that.
I mean, that's ridiculous, but it's, you know. But anywho, the most recent one that I picked up is dog sitting through the Rover app. And I did not grow up with pets. Well, except for a little bunny rabbit, but that's, a whole nother
You
situation.
had a bunny?
I did. But as far as dogs or cats, I had none. My parents were not, really about that. So, I finally decided, you know what? I think I really like dogs. I'm gonna get one. So I got a dog, and then I was like, huh. A fellow real estate agent told me that she was using the Rover app, for extra money, and I was like, I wonder if I should do that too. So I signed up, and it's been pretty cool so far. It's been cool and interesting at the same time. As with anything, I now have a regular pet that I sit weekly. I check in on him, take him out, make sure he eats his food, and just the basic stuff. Maybe we play a little while or something, but it's not a whole lot of time, and it can be rewarding because dogs are cute and I like them. So You know, for the most part, they like me too. You know, every once in a while you have that one where they're just like, why are you here? But but for the most part, they're, you know, happy to see another human being. And you know, the money has been consistent. Um, what else can I say about it? It's, like I said, it's rewarding. It can be fun. Um, like I said, it doesn't take away from too many of my resources as far as like time is concerned. I can kind of like squeeze it in among other things. What else can I say about it? Um, I don't
And
know.
are you meeting like really cool animals that you enjoy being around?
Yeah, and humans too. I actually got an invite from one of the pet owners to hang out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to hang out at that time when she invited me, but I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." You know, I get to hang out. And actually the one, my regular, his name is Fred. His mom was like, "Hey," you know, because we were just kind of chatting about the dental situation, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to do better about his teeth, so you know, be sure to give him a doggy dental treat or whatever." I said, yeah, I can understand that. My dog, he doesn't even like the treats. He's so picky. She's like, well, hey, just go ahead and take one and, you know, see if he likes it. Unfortunately, he didn't. But just the fact that she was, you know, she cared enough to say, hey, you know, try it out, see if it works for you. Meant a lot, you know what I mean? So the pets are cool, but the humans are cool too. So
Okay. So your side hustle also has a social aspect that's working for you, socially with humans, not just socially with animals.
yeah, not as much because I don't see them as much. It's usually just a chat because they're 9 times out of 10 out of town. But
Ah, okay.
it's been pretty cool.
Okay. Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Now, let me ask you this. When dealing with pets,
Mhm,
people are very particular about their fur babies. I
mhm.
get it. Is there anything that you've learned in your side hustle that you have found to become very useful in your main hustle?
Um, Good question. Well, it's hard to say. Um, I think that I am a little more at ease. And when I go and, you know, being a real estate agent, we going home. Sometimes their pets are there, sometimes they aren't.
Mhm.
But I'm a little more at ease when the pet is at home because I've been around so many different types of pet personalities and how they react when a stranger comes around, that it kind of helps me not to be anxious, because I used to be anxious because I'm just like, oh, I don't know what to expect from this dog. Like, are they going to be angry or whatever the case may be? Not, I mean, they're usually always like caged or in a room or something, but still, you just never know. And so I'm a
Right.
little more at ease when I, you know, either walk by their cage or, you know, approach or whatever. I'm a little more at ease because I'm just like, okay, they're just, you know, trying to assess and figure out who's in their house because it's their space. You know, and I don't have to be anxious about it. So it has put me a little more at ease. Um, and the social aspect also helps too, you know, just um, you know, with certain interactions about their pets, you know, when you're going on listing appointments and you have to kind of address things, it just kind of helps um being able to have that interaction with other pet owners who are, you know, not necessarily looking to sell their home when you do approach someone who is. So yeah, I would say it does help.
So it provides a bridge to approach people that didn't exist that is useful in your main hustle. I love that. I mean, that's enriching everything. So, okay, thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate that, Shamir. Does anybody else want to share a little bit about their side hustle? Because we had quite a few side hustles in here. So, what you got? Does anybody want to share anything? Because if not, this will be a short session. Hold on, I'm going to type a quick note here. All right. So let me end with this, because I don't want to just keep you if it doesn't go, if it's not getting the interaction, if it doesn't resonate. I'd like for it to, but I understand that not every topic will. Small changes done consistently over time with commitment make big waves in your lives. So a side hustle that brings a little bit of extra money $25, $50, or whatever a week. If you put that to good use, you will make major impacts in your life financially. You'll probably learn something from that side hustle that's useful in the rest of your life, and you'll make connections that are useful for the rest of your life. So I believe that everybody should have a side hustle. If you want to call it a hobby, you can call it a hobby, but I think it's more rewarding when you're putting something out there for which you feel valued. I know that when I was younger and we had to fill out our resumes or create our resumes, we were always told, well, what are your hobbies? And I didn't have any, except I like to read. I haven't figured out how to make that into a side hustle by itself, but the fact that I read so much as a kid and still continue to read a lot means that, well, when I did want to help kids with tutoring, reading comprehension was something that some kids struggled with. And I was able to help because I do read a lot, and it's a skill like any other thing to develop. How to read something and encapsulate what's in there and be able to utilize that information in something else. That's something I learned from my hobby. What I've heard is that there are people that will be paid to read books and give a rating on them or critique them. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to read for pleasure. And then there are also people that are, I saw this on Amazon, that you can be paid to read a book out loud for the audiobooks. I know I don't want to do that because sometimes I stumble over words, and who wants to pay for somebody that sounds like that when they're trying to read the book? But everything that you love can develop into something that can provide you a little bit of extra money somehow. Think about it. That's what I really want us to take from this, that you can always think of something that you do that you love anyway that can help bring a little bit of extra money in. So I loved Shamir's position about dog sitting or pet sitting, not just dog sitting. And the other thing, technology changes, so there's an app for that. Shantae, you talked about helping with event planning. I am pretty sure there are going to be business people who want to plan networking events or, I don't know, client appreciation parties or anything like that. And you have that sparkle to make the event shine, because Lord knows if I had to do it, it'll be plain white napkins on blue plates and that's about it. But Shantae, you know how to bring the joy to an event. So there you go. You can find another way to keep doing it. Maybe not on the level you were doing it during COVID, but maybe once a month or something like that gets you out and meeting new people. And you are so good at networking and meeting new people and having them come into your life. I'm an example of someone that came into your life and now you're a very special part of it. So just constantly be able to use what you have. One of my side hustles that I'm going to share about, I might even share the link. I don't know if I might do that, but I participate in a company that sells essential services. So like electricity and phone service and not, why am I drawing a blank? Identity protection, health sharing alternatives to healthcare. I mean, all of those things are really great. And there's a person on here I met through that activity, that we have a good time together. We haven't met in person, but we have connected. And so your side hustle, whatever it is, can enrich your life more than financially. Excuse me. So if there are no other questions, if there aren't any other stories that you guys want to share, I want to thank you for listening to this, and I hope it resonates with you in some way. I'll give it I just want to make a comment.
Can you tell me with Jacob, what kind of side hustles in his age range? What is he doing?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, and Evan will get to you. My son decided to sell pest control door to door last summer, and I thought it was really great for his confidence. So he went down with a group of his frat brothers, and they were working for a company, and they were going door to door, and they were hanging out with each other. It was like 4 or 5 of them to a room. I was initially skeptical, I'm going to say. I was like, why don't you work for me? Or why don't you do this? And he was like, no, I want to do this other thing. And it turned out to be great for him. And he's planning on doing it again this year. And he made some decent money. Now, did he come home a Rockefeller? No, but he came home having lived in a room in, where was it, Baltimore, with other guys. He learned how to talk to strangers. He was saying, he told me that, he has some gift for it, and it helped with his confidence, and it's helped with school for this year. So sometimes a side hustle is educational. And I love that. I love that he has spending money as a result of what he did. Now he's still on the payroll. He's still on the M&D payroll, but extra spending money. And he took a trip a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't have to give him any money for it. So kudos for him. I love that. I think that's amazing. Evan, would you like to, because you were going to say something, I don't want to pass you by. I saw you there. Are you still on? I can hear you now.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Evan. I'm sorry I'm late jumping in. I was on another Zoom call earlier. So I see y'all talking about side hustle for secondary income and so forth. With today's economy, all of us, I know I'm speaking for myself mostly, sometimes, you got to look for something. But along that journey, I did find that during my side hustle, I come across quite a few good people, and I learned a lot about myself. And also, I learned a lot about trying to enhance. Today, you cannot go without having some type of tech skills, be it computers, internet, linking up with social media in some kind of way, or understanding how social media can enhance whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's one of the things I'm doing now in this marketing class I'm taking, and it's definitely a journey, and it is really, really taking me out of my comfort zone in such a way to where I'm like, man, it's really blowing my mind to come across some of the things I'm learning in this class, and learning about AI. How much AI is evolved and where it's going, and not even realizing that we have been using AI all along, and not realizing, it's already here. So yeah, I'm learning a lot. And my side hustle has taught me a lot.
Okay. How did you come across your side hustle?
Well, when years ago, when I initially started real estate, I was just fresh. I was just getting into real estate, just fresh out of school. And when I decided to go with the broker that I went with, a guy that I was working with in my job was telling me about it, what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. So he actually ventured out, started real estate, became a broker, and he asked me to come along with him. And so I did.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. And so that's
the being a real estate agent was the side hustle.
Well, yes, the real estate was the side hustle. And
okay.
When I decided to do that, it actually helped me in a lot of ways, because, I never would have bought any duplexes or any homes or whatever to make passive income. I never would have done that if I hadn't made the move to do the side hustle, or make that move with that young man who said, "Hey, man, I think you'll be a good fit. Come along with me." I never would have done that. That was beyond my comfort zone, And so because of that, I've learned a lot, and through that journey, I was able to purchase 6 other properties and so forth, and get the current home that I'm in paid off and so forth. I never would have been able to do any of that if I had not been able to get out of my comfort zone.
Okay, so you feel like your side hustle grew you as a person and also helped you generate some wealth because you have a lot of equity in your home.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your sharing that. Anyone else? Hey, I sent a private message. Can y'all check that before the meeting ends? Because I like to make sure we're connected. If you guys can look at your direct messages and see if it was you that I wrote to. I was a teenager. The young was not for me. I did not do well at that particular task. I did it for like 3 weeks. It's hard work delivering newspapers on a bike. As you get the papers, you got to fold them up, you got to put them in the bag, and then you get on your bike on this hill and you're got to remember what your route is. But the guy that took over my route after me did it until he graduated from high school. And funny enough, I still remember his name. I always talked to him because I was like, hey, you're doing this. And I felt like we made a good connection. One of the things that we talked about briefly, very briefly one day, was what a commitment it was to get up early, to make sure no matter what you did the night before, because the paper was delivered every day, and on Sunday it had the insert, the kind of commitment that it took to do that. I'll keep them in high school if you got to get that. It takes up valuable putting you to work. I really believe that if I had to do parenthood all over again, I would try to get my kids to have small side hustles when they were younger. Even if it didn't make a lot of money, it's the commitment. It's the building of the work ethic. Not that their work ethic isn't good, but I think when you're doing something like that, you also meet others whose work ethic is good. So I would strongly encourage that you encourage your kids to have a little something going on, bringing in money. You can give them an allowance, but have them work outside the home, have them learn something like that. I think that would be a useful growing tool for them. And they start learning the value of money they've made themselves, which is, I think, way sweeter than money that's given. So does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
I got something. Julia, you and I do have something in common.
What is that?
You said you used to do deliver newspapers. I actually did that myself.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I sure did. I did it for about 3 years.
Oh, so you were one of those that actually stuck with it. Okay. I'm proud of you then.
Well, thank you for that. But yeah, I did. It was definitely a side hustle. Yes.
Do you think that there are life lessons that you learned as a result of doing that?
I do believe so. It just let me know that I was willing to do whatever I had to do, to take care of myself and my family. And this was actually during the time I was doing my real estate as well, because it helped me fund some of the expenses that I had getting into the world of real estate.
Okay. No,
Because
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, we all know that starting out in real estate can be quite, going through the school and the training and taking the tests and so forth. So the journey. So it did help me quite a bit. Yeah.
So a side hustle can help you develop your main hustle. Let's say you're trying to start a business, but it's not bringing income in like you want it to just yet. Well, a little bit of a side hustle. And I know people who drive Uber or do Uber Eats or something like that for the purpose of providing money for another major venture, which is kind of like building wealth because you're building for something that's growing.
That's right.
I love that.
I heard something about Uber might have had drivers go on strike. Did anyone hear about that?
I think I did.
Because they want more money.
Well, I think that quite a lot is kept, but we have to remember how much is needed to run that platform. So I have no idea because I don't run any type of platform, but I know somebody is accepting the liability and refunding customers and providing the technology and the infrastructure and creating the business. And so I'm not sure, but I think there's a tiered payment system in Uber. So when you start, you have one level, and as you grow up, you get greater levels. I think you get to charge more or some. I think I read that somewhere a while ago. So if you stick with it long enough, you can see the growth. And if you really want to make more out of it, then you can create your own system. You can use it as a learning situation. So, but anyway, the takeaway. You can save $25 or you can make an extra $25. What I like about making an extra $25, because sometimes you can start with a little bit that you're trying to make and it grows and it puts you out there with people and it helps you develop a skill that you didn't have. And almost every side hustle results in a benefit that's completely unforeseen. So please consider the benefits of a side hustle, but before you get into it, have the mindset of where you want the proceeds from that side hustle to go. If you need the money to pay bills, you stick to that. You don't blow your side hustle. If you need the money for a future expenditure, great. Get in the habit of doing that. Knock that expenditure's finances out and keep going. So then the third part, it becomes a building tool. And it's better done a long time, a consistent time of a little bit of money every week, every month, put away, put to work, and to just say, hey, I'm not going to make that small step and not do it. So let's think about what you have as the ability to just make a little tweak in your game. And let's all try to make our side hustles successful. All right, I've been trying to write back to this one person. I don't know why that's not working. So let's try it one more time. And then I'm going to end the meeting. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to comment on Facebook. I would love it if everybody that was here liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, shared the link with somebody, because I'd really like to start growing my audience here. If you found some value with what is happening here, let's make it grow. I am always ready to learn and always ready to share. So thank you very much for joining. I look forward to seeing you guys next week and have a great weekend. Oh, Shamir put the link to my YouTube in there. So if you get a chance, comment, like, subscribe. Okay. Everybody have a great week. Thank you so much for attending and see you next time. Bye-bye.